Ayana Nwosu stood on the edge of the Hangang Bridge at 3:17 a.m., her phone displaying a single message: "Your sister has 6 hours. Pay or she dies." She looked down at the black water below, her only escape from the $500,000 debt she couldn't pay. One step and it would all be over. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." The voice was cold, measured, Korean. Ayana spun around and slipped, but the man held her hands and kept her from falling. "Who the hell are you?" she demanded. "Kang Min-jun, your sister's creditor." His eyes were unreadable. "And the man who's about to make you a very unusual offer." He pulled her up and she should have been terrified. Instead, something about the calculated way he studied her like she was valuable, not disposable, made her pause. She didn't know it then, but the man who held her sister's life in his hands was about to become her only ally in a world that wanted them both dead. And by the time she realized she was playing a game she couldn't win, it would be too late to fold. Hold up if you're already hooked. Hit that subscribe button right now. This story is about to get absolutely wild, and you don't want to miss a single twist. Now let's continue. 6 hours earlier, Ayana had come to Seoul 3 years ago with a Stanford MBA, a business plan, and dreams of bridging African and Korean markets. Her import-export startup connecting Nigerian textiles with Korean fashion designers had been thriving until her younger sister Chisholm made one catastrophic mistake. Chisholm had fallen in with a gambling ring, underground poker games in Gangnam basements where the stakes weren't just money, they were lives. She'd lost big, $500,000 big, and the people she owed didn't negotiate. "Ani," Chisholm had sobbed on the phone yesterday, using the Korean word for older sister she'd picked up living here. "They're going to kill me. They have me in some warehouse. Please, I'm so sorry." Ayana had 48 hours to produce $500,000 or her sister would be sold, organs first, then whatever was left of her to traffickers. She'd spent the last 24 hours liquidating everything. Her business, her apartment, her mother's gold jewelry shipped from Lagos. Total $213,000. Not even halfway there, which brought her to the bridge. An offer. Ayana's voice was hoarse. What kind of offer? Kang Min-jun stepped closer and she noticed details. The scar through his left eyebrow, the Patek Philippe watch, the way his suit fit like it was made specifically for concealing weapons. "Your sister owes me money. You clearly can't pay. But you have something else I need." "I have nothing." "You have a business degree, cultural knowledge of both Nigeria and Korea, and—" His eyes swept over her with clinical assessment. "You're desperate enough to die for family. That makes you perfect." "Perfect for what?" "Working for me." He pulled out his phone, showed her a photo of Chisholm, alive, terrified, bound to a chair in a concrete room. "I'll erase her debt completely. I'll set her up in a safe apartment with a monthly allowance. She'll never have to worry about money again." Ayana's heart pounded. "In exchange for what?" 3 years of your life." His expression didn't change. "You'll work as my associate. You'll use your business connections to help me expand my operations into West African markets. You'll live in my compound. You'll go where I say when I say. You'll be, essentially, mine." "That's slavery. That's employment." He tilted his head. "With excellent benefits. Your sister lives. Your mother's medical bills get paid. Yes, I know about the cancer treatments, and you get to keep breathing. Refuse and—" He gestured to the water below. "You jump. Your sister dies anyway, and your mother loses both daughters in one night." Ayana's hands trembled with rage. "You're a monster." "Yes." He said it simply, like stating a fact. "But I'm a monster who keeps his promises. Work for me, follow my rules, and everyone you love stays safe. Cross me." His smile was razor sharp. "And you'll wish I'd let you jump." She looked at Chisholm's terrified face on the screen. Thought of her mother in Lagos, already sick, already struggling. Thought of the dark water below that had seemed like mercy minutes ago. "How do I know you'll keep your word?" "You don't." He extended his hand. But what choice do you have? Ayana stared at his hand for a long moment. Then, hating herself, hating him, hating the world that led to this moment, she took it. His grip was firm, warm, utterly uncompromising. "Smart girl," he said. "Now let's go save your sister." The SUV ride to Min-jun's compound was silent except for the rapid-fire Korean he spoke into his phone. Ayana caught words. Warehouse, transfer, medical team, clean. "Is she hurt?" Ayana asked quietly. "Bruised, dehydrated, terrified." He didn't look at her. "But alive. My people are extracting her now." "Your people beat her in the first place." "No, the Jade Serpent Triad beat her. I bought her debt from them 2 hours ago." Now he did look at her. "You're welcome." The compound was in Seongbuk-dong, old money neighborhood. Massive traditional Hanok architecture merged with modern security. Armed guards, cameras everywhere, walls that seemed designed to keep the world out, or prisoners in. "Welcome home," Min-jun said flatly as the gates closed behind them. Ayana had barely slept in 72 hours. They'd let her see Chisholm briefly. Her sister was in a hospital wing within the compound, recovering, crying, apologizing endlessly. But then they'd separated them. "You see her when you earn it," Min-jun had said. Now she sat in his office, minimalist, expensive, intimidating, while he explained her duties. "You'll help me establish legitimate business channels in Lagos, Accra, and Johannesburg. I need someone who understands both cultures, who won't be immediately flagged as a foreign criminal." "Legitimate business?" Ayana's laugh was bitter. "You're a gangster." "I'm a businessman who occasionally uses unconventional methods." He slid a file across the desk. "These are shell companies I'm establishing. Import-export, just like your old business, except we'll also be moving specialty items." She opened the file. Her blood went cold. "Drugs?" "Pharmaceuticals," he corrected. "Technically legal in their countries of origin. The profit margins in African markets are substantial. I won't help you poison people." His expression didn't change. "Then your sister's debt gets reinstated. She goes back to the triad, and I believe they were very interested in her kidneys." Ayana's hands shook with rage. "I hate you." "Good." He stood, moved to pour himself whiskey. "Hate keeps you sharp. Just remember who holds all the cards." Something strange was happening. Min-jun was not what she expected. Yes, he was cold, controlled, dangerous. His phone rang at all hours with conversations that ended in coded instructions she didn't want to understand. He carried a gun as casually as other men carried car keys, but he also had his chef prepare Nigerian jollof rice when she refused to eat Korean food, gave her an unlimited budget to furnish her room however she wanted, never touched her without explicit permission, sat with Chisholm during her panic attacks when Ayana was working. "Why are you being kind to her?" Ayana asked one evening, finding him in Chisholm's room, teaching her sister how to play baduk, go, to distract her from her trauma. "I'm not kind," he said. "I'm practical. A traumatized asset is a useless asset." But Ayana had seen the way he'd adjusted Chisholm's blanket before leaving, the way he'd left extra snacks he knew she liked. "Tell me about your scar," Ayana said during one of their late-night work sessions. They'd been reviewing shipping manifests for hours. Her eyes were exhausted, but she'd noticed him absently touching the scar through his eyebrow. "No." His response was automatic. "You know everything about me. My childhood, my mother's cancer, my ex-boyfriend, my favorite food. I know nothing about you." "That's intentional." "Is it from a knife? A fight?" His jaw tightened. "My father gave it to me when I was 16, with a broken bottle. Because I refused to kill a man he ordered me to execute." The confession hung in the air. "I killed the man the next day," Min-jun continued emotionlessly, "after my father broke 3 of my ribs, and this," he gestured to the scar, "to teach me obedience. I learned that mercy is a luxury men like me can't afford." Ayana's throat tightened. That's horrible. That's reality. He closed his laptop with finality. Get some sleep. Tomorrow we have a video conference with our Lagos contacts. But as he left, Ayana could have sworn she saw something in his expression, something that looked almost like shame. The breaking point came during a business dinner. Min-jun had taken Ayana to an exclusive restaurant in Gangnam. He needed her to meet potential business partners from Johannesburg. She wore a designer dress he'd had tailored for her, played her role perfectly, smiled and networked, and pretended she wasn't a prisoner playing dress-up. Until she saw him, Dr. Solomon Charles, the man who'd stolen her research back at Stanford, the mentor who'd published her thesis under his name and destroyed her academic career. He was at the bar, laughing, successful, wearing an expensive watch, probably bought with money that should have been hers. Ayana's vision went red. She stood abruptly, started walking toward him. Min-jun's hand caught her wrist. "What are you doing?" "That man ruined my life." Min-jun followed her gaze, and something shifted in his expression. "Explain. Quickly." She told him in rapid whispers. The stolen research, the betrayal, the reason she'd had to abandon academia and start a business instead. The reason she'd been so desperate to succeed that she couldn't help Chisholm earlier. Min-jun listened in silence. Then he stood. "Stay here." "What are you—" But he was already walking toward Dr. Charles. Ayana watched in shock as Min-jun approached the man, said something quiet. Dr. Charles's face went pale. Min-jun showed him something on his phone. Dr. Charles started shaking his head desperately. 5 minutes later, Min-jun returned. "What did you do?" "I informed him that I have evidence of his academic fraud. I suggested he might want to publicly credit your work before that evidence reaches the Stanford Ethics Board, the media, and every academic journal that published his stolen research." Ayana's breath caught. "Why would you do that?" "Because—" Min-jun's expression was unreadable. "Nobody gets to hurt what's mine, not even before you were mine." The possessiveness should have angered her. Instead, her heart raced for entirely different reasons. Ayana woke to find an email from Stanford's Ethics Board. They were opening an investigation into Dr. Charles. Her research would be properly attributed within 60 days. She found Min-jun in his office at 6 a.m., already working. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Don't thank me." He didn't look up from his laptop. "I just eliminated a potential business rival who happens to consult for companies in our target markets." Liar. Now he looked up. "Excuse me? You did it because you saw how much he hurt me. Because despite everything, you actually care." "I don't care." But his voice lacked conviction. "I protect my investments." "Is that what I am? An investment?" Min-jun stood slowly, moved around the desk until he was close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and cold, like winter pine. "What do you want me to say, Ayana? That I lie awake thinking about you? That I've started making decisions based on what will make you smile? That every time you laugh at something Chisholm says, it's the best sound I've heard all day?" Her breath caught. "I'm a criminal," he continued, voice rough. "I've killed people. I will kill again. I've built an empire on violence and fear. You should be planning your escape, not standing here looking at me like what? Like I'm not the monster I know I am." Ayana stepped closer. "Maybe you're both, monster and man. That's not possible, isn't it?" She thought of the past 3 weeks, the complexity she'd witnessed. "You saved Chisholm. You avenged my stolen research. You've never laid a hand on me even though you could. You taught my sister Baduk to help with her anxiety. You paid for my mother's cancer treatment without telling me, 'Yes, I found out. If you're just a monster, you're terrible at it.'" Min-jun's control cracked. His hand came up, cupped her face, and for a moment she thought he might kiss her. Instead, he stepped back abruptly. "This can't happen." "Why not?" "Because when you find out the truth about why I really bought your sister's debt, you'll hate me." His expression was anguished. "And I'd rather have you working for me, hating me from a distance, than have you look at me the way you're looking at me now when you discover what I've done." "What truth? What are you talking about?" But he was already walking away. Then at 2 a.m., Ayana woke to gunfire. Her door burst open. Min Jun, weapon drawn, face deadly serious. "Get up, now, don't ask questions." They ran through corridors turning red with emergency lighting. Behind them, she could hear shouting in Korean, more gunshots, explosions. "What's happening?" "The Jade Serpent Triad found out I bought Chisholm's debt. They're unhappy." He pulled her into a safe room, reinforced steel, cameras everywhere. Chisholm was already there, terrified, held by another guard. "Stay here," Min Jun ordered. "Don't open this door for anyone but me." "Where are you going?" "To end this." His eyes met hers, and she saw something she'd never seen before. Fear. Not for himself, for her. "If I don't come back, you're coming back." "Ayana," she grabbed his jacket. "You don't get to make me care about you and then die. That's not how this works." Something shifted in his expression. Then, so quickly she almost missed it, he kissed her forehead. "Stay alive, that's an order." He left. The next 30 minutes were the longest of Ayana's life. She held Chisholm, while her sister sobbed, listened to gunfire that gradually diminished, prayed to every deity she'd ever heard of. When the door finally opened, Min Jun stood there, blood on his suit, exhaustion in his eyes, but alive. "It's over," he said. Ayana launched herself at him, wrapped her arms around him despite the blood, despite everything. "You came back." "I gave you an order." But his arms came around her, held her like she was the only solid thing in a tilting world. "I always keep my promises." 3 days after the attack, Ayana found the file by accident. She was looking for shipping manifests in Min Jun's office while he was out. Found a locked drawer, picked it. 3 years of watching YouTube tutorials paid off. Inside, a dossier. On her, but not recent. This went back 2 years. Photos of her at Stanford, her research presentations, her failed startup attempts, her mother's cancer diagnosis, and dated 3 months before Chisholm's gambling debt, a handwritten note in Korean. She used her phone to translate. "Subject has ideal profile. Desperate, intelligent, culturally connected, no criminal record. Sister's gambling habit can be leveraged. Recommended action. Acquire debt, create controlled crisis, make offer. Potential for long-term asset development, 97%. The paper slipped from her hands. He'd planned this, all of it. Chisholm's debt hadn't been coincidence. Min Jun had likely encouraged it, maybe even had people push her sister toward those underground games. He'd orchestrated her suicide attempt by buying the debt and making it public. He'd manufactured her desperation to trap her. The door opened. Min Jun entered, saw the open drawer, the file on his desk, the expression on her face. "Ayana, you set me up." Her voice was hollow. "Chisholm's debt. Everything. You planned it." He didn't deny it. "Yes? Why?" "Because I needed someone exactly like you, and I knew you'd never agree unless I gave you no choice." "So you terrorized my sister? Made me suicidal? Played God with our lives?" "Yes." His voice was empty. "I did all of that." Ayana felt something shatter inside her. "I was starting to trust you, to care about you. God, I was falling in—" She stopped herself. "I know." His expression was anguished. "And that's why I tried to stop it. Tried to keep distance. Because I knew when you found out, you'd look at me exactly the way you're looking at me now." "Like you're a monster?" "Yes." She should run. Should scream. Should demand he release her and Chisholm immediately. Instead, she heard herself ask, "Why didn't you just destroy the file?" "Because you deserve the truth." He stepped closer, and she saw something broken in his eyes. "I thought I was acquiring an asset, a tool, but somewhere between the bridge and now, you became—" His voice cracked. You became the only real thing in my life. And I don't know how to be the man who did those things to you while also being the man who would burn the world down to keep you safe. You can't be both. I know. He pulled an envelope from his jacket, set it on the desk. That's why I'm giving you a choice. Real one this time. Ayana opened it with shaking hands. Legal documents, debt forgiveness for Chisholm, notarized permanent, deed to an apartment in Lagos, trust fund documentation for her mother's medical care, and a plane ticket for her and Chisholm, dated tomorrow. You're letting us go? Yes. His voice was barely a whisper. I can't undo what I've done. Can't change that I'm the man who terrorized you into compliance, but I can give you freedom. You and Chisholm, free and clear. Your mother's care paid for life. You never have to see me again. Why now? Because he looked at her with such raw vulnerability it hurt. Because I love you, and love means you don't get to own someone, even if you already legally do. Ayana stared at the documents. Freedom, safety, everything she'd wanted since the bridge. So why did it feel like losing something irreplaceable? Hold up. Before we continue, I need to know what you're thinking right now. Should Ayana take the ticket and run? Or is there something more here? Drop your theories in the comments, smash that like button if your heart is racing, and subscribe because, besties, this story is about to go completely off the rails. Now let's see what happens. 3 days later, Ayana should have taken the ticket. Should have packed Chisholm up and run back to Lagos without looking back. Instead, she'd spent 3 days in her room, staring at the documents, replaying everything. Yes, Minjun had manipulated her, but he'd also saved her sister's life, avenged her stolen research, protected her mother, shown her more genuine care in 6 weeks than most people had in her entire life, given her the choice to leave when he could have kept her prisoner forever. Was he a monster? Absolutely. But was he just a monster? On the 3rd day, she found him in his office at 3 a.m., staring at security footage of the now empty room she'd occupied. I'm not leaving, she said. He spun around, shock breaking his usual control. What? I'm not taking your ticket. She stepped inside, closed the door. But I have conditions. Ayana, you should. Condition 1, complete transparency. No more secrets, no more files I don't know about. You tell me everything about your operations. That will put you in danger. I'm already in danger just knowing you. Condition 2, Chisholm goes to Lagos with a security detail. She gets to rebuild her life safely, but away from all this. Minjun nodded slowly. Condition 3. Ayana's voice softened. You actually try. Try to be more than the monster your father made you. Try to build something legitimate. Try to be the man I've seen glimpses of. I don't know if I can. Then we'll figure it out together. She moved closer. Because here's the thing, Minjun. You manipulated me into this situation. That's unforgivable. But you also gave me a way out, which means you're capable of change. And maybe we can build something real from this completely insane foundation. You should hate me. I do hate you. Her eyes met his. I also think I love you, and I'm furious about both of those things. His control finally shattered. He crossed the room, cupped her face, and kissed her like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, he whispered, I don't deserve you. Probably not. She smiled despite everything. But you're stuck with me now. They spent the next week rebuilding. Carefully. Honestly. Minjun taught her the real business, not sanitized versions, but actual operations. Money laundering, protection rackets, pharmaceutical smuggling. It was uglier than she'd imagined. We're going legitimate, he announced one morning. Gradually, over the next 3 years. Why? Because you were right. I've been the monster my father created for too long. Time to be something else. His hand found hers. Time to build something worth having. That's when his phone rang. The conversation was brief in Korean, but she watched his face go from calm to absolutely terrified in seconds. "What is it?" "My father." Minjun's voice was hollow. "He's not dead." "What? I thought I killed him 8 years ago. Apparently—" His hands shook. "He survived. He's been building power in Japan, and he just learned I've been going legitimate, that I've been compromised by—" He looked at her. "By you. What does that mean?" "It means he's coming to Seoul." Minjun stood abruptly, started making calls, "and he's going to try to take everything from me, starting with you." 3 days later, Kang Il-sung arrived like a storm, older than his son, scarred, radiating a cold violence that made Minjun seem gentle by comparison. He walked into the compound with 20 armed men like he owned it, because, Ayana realized, he legally might. "My son." Il-sung's smile was sharp as broken glass. "I hear you've been making poor business decisions." "Father." Minjun's voice was flat. Ayana noticed he'd positioned himself between her and his father. "I thought you were dead." "Clearly my most successful deception." Il-sung's eyes slid to Ayana. "And this must be the distraction. The Nigerian woman who's made you weak. Ayana is none of your concern." "Isn't she?" Il-sung pulled out a tablet, showed them footage. Security camera stills of Ayana and Minjun together, kissing in his office. Her sleeping in his bed. Evidence of everything they'd become. The great Kang Minjun, brought to his knees by a foreign woman. Your grandfather is rolling in his grave. Get to the point. The point is simple. Il-sung's smile widened. You've built something impressive here, son. I want it back. Every operation, every asset, every connection. You sign it all over to me. He gestured to documents his men carried. Or I kill her slowly while you watch. Then I kill her sister, her mother, everyone she's ever loved. And then finally, I kill you for disappointing me. Ayana felt ice in her veins. You have 24 hours to decide, Il-sung continued. Your empire or her life. Choose. I'm signing over everything, Minjun said the moment his father left. What? No. Ayana grabbed his arm. You can't. He'll kill you. Minjun's voice was raw. Do you understand? He'll make it last days. I've seen what he does to people. I won't let that happen to you. So you'll give up everything you've built? In a heartbeat. He cupped her face. You think any of this matters without you? The business, the money, the power, it's all worthless if you're dead. There has to be another way. There isn't. But his eyes said otherwise. Ayana found Minjun in the armory, loading weapons with mechanical precision. You're planning something, she said. I'm signing the documents tomorrow at noon. Nothing to plan. You're a terrible liar when it comes to me. She moved closer. What are you really doing? He looked at her for a long moment, then made a decision. My father taught me many things. One of them, never give your enemy what they want. Always leave yourself an exit. Meaning, he pulled out architectural plans. This compound has systems even he doesn't know about. Explosives wired into the foundation. Dead man switches tied to my biometrics. If he kills me, everything detonates. The compound, all digital records, every offshore account access code, gone. That's insane. That's survival. His jaw tightened. I'll sign his documents. He'll think he won. But the moment he tries to actually access any of it, he'll discover I've salted the earth. Every account emptied, every contact warned, every piece of evidence of his operations sent to international authorities. He'll kill you. Probably. Minjun's smile was grim. But you'll be long gone. I'm having Chisholm and your mother extracted tonight. You leave with them in 6 hours on a private plane. New identities. Untraceable. By the time my father realizes what I've done, you'll be safely... No. This isn't negotiable, Ayana. You're right. It's not. She grabbed the plans from his hands. Because I'm not leaving you to die. We're finding a third option. There isn't. There's always a third option. Her mind raced. Your father wants the empire, wants to prove you're weak. What if we give him something he wants even more? Like what? Do you trust me? She cut him off. Minjun stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly, he nodded. Tomorrow, I'll reveal it. What are you planning? Something you or your father will never see coming. She touched his face gently. But I can't tell you the details. Not yet. Minjun's jaw tightened. You're asking me to go in blind. I'm asking you to trust me the way I trusted you. Her eyes held his. When you pulled me off that bridge, I took a leap of faith. Now I need you to do the same. The silence stretched between them. Tomorrow at noon, when everything falls apart. She paused. Remember that I love you, no matter what you see, no matter what I say. Minjun pulled her close, held her like it might be the last time. If this goes wrong, it won't, she whispered against his chest. Trust me. They spent the rest of the night in silence, holding each other as dawn approached, both knowing that everything was about to change. Neither of them slept. Kang Il-sung arrived at noon with his army, smiling like a predator who'd already won. I see you've made the wise choice, he said, observing the documents laid out in Minjun's office. I'm signing over everything, Minjun said, voice hollow, defeated. On one condition, you let Ayana go. She had nothing to do with my business. Of course. Il-sung's smile widened. I'm not a monster. Minjun reached for the pen. Wait. Ayana's voice cut through the room. Everyone turned to her. Before you sign that, she said, there's something Mr. Kang should know. She pulled out a USB drive, handed it to Il-sung. Your son has been a fool, easily manipulated, and I've been selling his secrets for weeks. Minjun's expression of betrayal was exemplary. Il-sung plugged in the drive, scanned the contents. His smile grew savage. Well, the little bird has teeth. He looked at Ayana with new interest. You've sold my son's operation to the Jade Serpent Triad, to the Russians, to at least 6 different competitors. Impressive. I'm a businesswoman, Ayana said coolly. Your son was useful for a while, but his money was better. Ayana, Minjun's voice broke. How could you? Easily. She didn't look at him, kept her eyes on Il-sung. You were so desperate for affection you never saw it coming. Il-sung laughed, delighted. Oh, this is perfect, better than I imagined. He turned to his son. You see? This is what happens when you think with your heart instead of your head. She's destroyed you more thoroughly than I ever could. Congratulations, Ayana said, but I have a proposal. I'm listening. You want your son's empire. I've already dismantled half of it through my sales. But what I have... She pulled out her own documents. Is something neither of you possess. Legitimate connections throughout West Africa. Import-export networks. Political contacts. The kind of infrastructure that takes decades to build. And you're offering this, why? Because you're clearly more competent than your son, and I prefer working with winners. She met his eyes steadily. I give you exclusive access to African markets worth billions. You give me 30% and protection from the people I've betrayed. Il-sung studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled. I like you. Much better than this weak fool. He gestured dismissively at Minjun. Yes, I accept your offer. Father, Minjun started. Silence. Il-sung's voice cracked like a whip. You've lost, son. Lost your business, your woman, your dignity. Be grateful I'm letting you live. He turned back to Ayana. Come, we have much to discuss. As Ayana walked toward the door with Il-sung, she let her eyes meet Minjun's for just a fraction of a second. Trust me, her expression said. His almost imperceptible nod replied, always. Il-sung's new headquarters was even more fortress-like than his son's. Ayana had been negotiating deals all afternoon, setting up meetings, providing contacts, playing the role of brilliant, amoral businesswoman perfectly. "You're quite impressive," Il-sung said over dinner. "My son was a fool to trust you." "Your son was a fool, period." Ayana sipped her wine. "Too soft, too emotional, not like you." "Indeed." He leaned forward. "Tell me, why did you really betray him? Beyond the money?" This was the moment, the test. "Because," Ayana said carefully, "he saved my sister's life and expected me to be grateful, as if mercy was currency. You understand power better. It's not given, it's taken." Il-sung's smile was approving. "We're going to do great work together." "Actually," Ayana set down her wine glass. "We're not." His expression shifted. "Excuse me? Those contacts I gave you, the account numbers, the business connections." She smiled. "All fake, or rather, all traced. Every single one leads directly to evidence of your operations. I'd estimate Interpol will be here in about..." She checked her watch. 3 minutes. Il-sung lunged for his gun. The lights cut out. When emergency lighting flickered on, Min-jun stood in the doorway, weapon trained on his father. "Hello, father," he said coldly. "Did you really think I'd let you take everything without a contingency? You..." Il-sung's face twisted with rage. "This was all a setup." "Not all of it," Ayana said, moving to Min-jun's side. "Your son really was willing to give up everything for me. That part was real. But we decided on something better than sacrifice. Justice," Min-jun finished. "For my wife. For everyone you've destroyed. For every life you've ruined." Sirens wailed outside. "You can't do this," Il-sung hissed. "I'm your father." "You stopped being my father the day you gave me this scar." Min-jun's voice was ice. "Now you're just a criminal, and criminals face consequences." International police burst through every entrance. As they dragged Il-sung away, still screaming threats, Min-jun lowered his weapon. "Is it really over?" Ayana asked quietly. "Almost." He pulled out his phone, showed her transfers. "I've liquidated everything. Every illegal asset converted to cash, then donated to victims' funds. Everything legitimate signed over to a trust that will actually help people." He looked at her. "We're starting over. Clean slate." "We're broke?" "Completely." His smile was the freest she'd ever seen it. "We have about $50,000 between us. No compound, no empire, and every enemy I've ever made will eventually come looking. Still want to stay?" Ayana laughed, and it felt like flying. "You're asking me now? After everything?" "I'm giving you another choice. Real one." His expression turned serious. "Stay with me, poor, hunted, uncertain future, or take your family and rebuild in Lagos. I'll understand either way." She pretended to think about it for exactly 2 seconds. Then she kissed him. "I choose you," she said against his lips. "Empire or no empire, monster or man, I choose you." 18 months later, Lagos, Nigeria. The office was small but legitimate. Obi-Kang Import-Export in neat lettering on the door. Completely legal, properly licensed, boring as hell. Ayana loved it. "Your 3 o'clock is here," Min-jun said, bringing her tea the way she liked it. He'd adapted to working as her assistant with surprising grace. Turned out he was excellent at negotiations when he couldn't threaten people. "Thanks," she kissed him quickly. "How's Chisholm?" "Graduating top of her business class next month. Your mother's cancer is in remission." And he smiled. "I got the call from the adoption agency. We're approved." Ayana's eyes filled with tears. "Really?" "Really. We can bring her home next week. The daughter they were adopting. The fresh start they were building. The legitimate life they'd chosen over power." "Any regrets?" she asked later that night, lying in their modest apartment, so different from the compound. "Every day," Min-jun admitted. "Then I wake up next to you, go to a job that doesn't involve killing people, and think about our daughter coming home. and the regret disappears. Even though we're not rich anymore? We have enough. He pulled her closer. And I have you. That's worth more than any empire. That's very romantic for a reformed gangster. Reformed monster, he corrected with a smile. There's a difference. Through the window, Lagos stretched out before them. Chaotic, vibrant, alive, full of possibility, a new beginning built on the ashes of old sins. Not perfect, not easy, but real. And sometimes, Ayana thought as she drifted to sleep in Min Jun's arms, real was better than any fairy tale. Besties. I'm done. Are you crying? Because I'm crying. This story took us on a journey. Let me know in the comments. Did they make the right choice? Could you forgive someone like Min Jun? What should I write next? If you love this story, smash that like button, subscribe for more Afro-Korean romance content, and turn on notifications because I have more stories coming that will blow your mind. Thanks for watching, besties. Until next time, stay blessed, stay hooked, and keep believing in messy, complicated, beautiful love stories.